you had ties to them some way. You knew people that were in it or people that were involved with them. I'm sorry. That is the history of our city. That is the history of the South.
So what do you name Tulsa now? Do you name it? We empathize with you.
Reconciliation, son.
Yeah,
that's what we're naming it.
We empathize with you, Oklahoma. That's the name. Yeah, and Reparations County.
I mean, this is fucking unbelievable. I'm sorry. Well, and they had a school. They had an elementary school in Tulsa named Robert E. Lee Elementary, and they went through this whole production to rename that school. I'm sorry that Robert E. Lee was a general for the South. He was very much an influential person in the history of the United States. I'm sorry he was a general for the South. It's still a fact that he was influential in the history of the United States. And if anybody emails us and tells us that we're fucking neo-Nazis or white supremacists, you can eat me, because that's not what we're getting at right now.
No, not in any way, shape, or form. We are.
I'm just saying you can't erase this country's history so your feelers don't get hurt.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with this guy. Neither does anybody else in Tulsa. Name me one person that's related to Brady in Tulsa.
I'll bet you money there's a bunch of people that are on the bandwagon that don't even know who Brady is. I bet you I didn't know till today that he founded Tulsa.
Right.
So there's people championing this cause that I guarantee you have no clue other than they heard he's got ties to the KKK.
Yeah, well, guess what? I'll bet in that era, most influential white people that lived in Tulsa probably had ties to the KKK. You know what? It's not my fault.
This
not
whole
your
deal,
fault.
man. This whole deal about not hurting people's feelings. I mean, for crying out loud, they've actually renamed the Tulsa Race Riot to be the Tulsa Race Massacre. What did that benefit anybody by doing that?
Again, sweeping it under the rug. You're taking a piece of shit and painting it a different color, and it's still a piece of shit.
Like, it wasn't a race riot; it was a race massacre.
Well, okay, I don't disagree that it was a massacre.
No, I won't either.
But for 97 years or however long it's been, it was called the race riot, and now you want to change it because it sounds too awful.
Well, are they changing it because the black people lost? Is that what it is? Like, I mean, the black people kind of won in L.A. on the Rodney King riots. They kind of won that because they tore the fucking city up.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think this has to do with anything African American at this point.
What do you think it has to do with?
I think it has to do with people just empathizing. I empathize with you. You can't put yourself. Empathizing means you put yourself in their shoes. You can't put yourself in their shoes.
Well, empathizing means that you've been in that position and you can relate to how they feel.
Exactly. That's kind of what it says.
I mean, you're putting yourself in their shoes. Yeah, I get what you're saying now, but I mean, I'll just say it, man. I feel like there are more white people in Tulsa right now championing the cause for the African American community than there are black people. Everybody's like, oh, well, that could hurt their feelings. I don't think there's a lot of black people in Tulsa that had a problem calling that the Tulsa Race Riot. Nobody ever gave two shits about it.
No, I think that the very last surviving person that had anything to do with that just recently passed away, and
this past week.
But yeah, bless her soul. She was, I think, 103 years old. I can't remember her name to save my life. I would put it out there, Sugar, if I knew it off the top of my head. But God bless you.
God bless her, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more people that are championing causes for stuff that are not a goddamn cause.
No,
than there needs to be in the world.
No,
man.
Shiner. Okay, but so they've changed the street signs twice on Brady, all the way down, right? Because this goes all the way down into Sand Springs. Keep in mind, MD Brady and all that mess. Okay, you ready for this? $17,000. Do you know how many hungry? Do you know how many hungry people your I feel bad for you movement? How many hungry people you could have fed with that money?
Well, we've got all kinds of veterans on the streets in Tulsa right now. $17,000 could have provided a much better way of life for every single one of them than changing the name of a goddamn street sign that was not bothering a person.
My point is if you want to feel bad about something, don't feel bad about something in the past. Feel bad about something in the now.
Yeah.
Feel bad about homeless veterans and homeless people in general. and people who don't have anything to eat, the less fortunate. Feel bad about them in the now and do something about it. Make a cause and stand by it. Raise some money and do something about it. But this trying to fix what's in the past, you can't fix what's in the past. The past is the past. The only thing you can change is the future.
Well, and everybody wants to be concerned about all this shit that happened in the past. And you know what? I've had, and I do have, black friends. And not one of them, yeah, we both do. Not one of them has ever brought up an argument about the name of Brady Street bothers them.
Hey, I'll go one further.
Fucking time.
I'll go one further. I've got a black friend that's gay, that dresses drag, and fucking nails it.
What? Who is it? Oh, that dude in Oklahoma?
Yes, sir.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes, sir. And he's a veteran. He's a fantastic human being. And
he's one of the coolest guys in the world.
And he's not bothered by this shit because he would rather feed somebody who's hungry than deal with stupid shit from the past that you can't change.
But you got a bunch of 22-year-olds that are, wearing skinny jeans and drinking cold brew coffee that are upset about Brady Street in Tulsa and Brady Theater in Tulsa.
And wearing Black Lives Matter T-shirts.
Yeah.
You
don't even fucking get me started on that.
You can't empathize. You're not in their shoes.
I will never say that black people haven't had a struggle in this country. I will never say that. They have had a struggle, and they have fought it and fought it and fought it. But if you're a 22, 24-year-old white kid and you're wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt, somebody needs to punch you in the fucking face because you don't know that struggle. Let those people that know that struggle represent that cause. But, man, this bullshit about renaming stuff, you cannot erase history. I mean, I'm sorry. Brady founded the city of Tulsa. Brady did a lot of influential things here. I'm sorry that he had ties to the KKK. It happened. It doesn't discredit the fact that he founded the city of Tulsa, which I guess from what you're saying, we're going to call Reconciliation, Oklahoma.
Yeah, something like that, in Reparation County, because it's Tulsa County as well. So
I'm done with it, man. I'm done with all the. This is the most ridiculous time that I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, we'll name the county. We'll name the county. We're seriously fucking sorry. That's the name of the county, and then of course you got to rename the sheriff's department. So we're seriously fucking sorry, sheriff's department.
I'm tired of this, man. Every day I get up, man, somebody else's feelings got it. I'm sorry. Life doesn't come with participation trophies. Pull up your big girl panties and let's get it.
I was on Facebook earlier with a friend of mine, and he and I both have different views on this. The cool part about it is both of us were going back and forth, but we were listening to each other as we were going back and forth. It wasn't I'm going to top what he said, and I'm going to top what he said, and I'm not going to top what he said. It was more like okay, I kind of get what you're saying, but what if this? What if that? Okay, that's an intelligent conversation. That's awesome.
That's the key, man. That's the key.
That's awesome. You taught me something I didn't know. I taught you something you didn't.
Well, I think it was last week on the podcast, and we were talking about hunting. And I said, if you disagree with my stance on this, feel free to contact us. Let's talk about this, and I will give you ample opportunity to change my mind. I wasn't bullshitting.
Absolutely.
If you can actually intelligently argue your point, and it changes my mind, I'll be the first man to admit it. Probably not going to happen, but I will.
We'll go so far as if you are pretty sure you can intelligently get your point across without putting yourself on the defense or putting others on the defense, we might even have you on the show.
I keep asking anybody involved with Antifa to contact us to debate stuff. I can't get anybody to do it.
No,
I mean, I'm not gonna. I would never bring somebody on this show that has a different opinion than mine or yours just to unload on them. I wouldn't do that. I'm all about listening to people. I've had a lot of Tiddy. You and I have been friends for a hot minute, and you have changed my opinion on more than one things in civil discussion.
You've done the same thing for me.
I mean, that's how adults act. I mean, you've definitely opened my eyes to different points of view, and I have completely changed how I think about things based on what you told me.
Well, and you know why that happened? Listen up, America. You know why that happened? Because we listened.
Exactly.
We didn't talk over each other.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to just force my point of view down your throat, and vice versa. You just told me where you stood and why you stood there. Made sense to me, and I started changing how I viewed things.
Yeah, yeah. There was a time in my life where I could not deal with authority, and I have no problem with authority. I understand why authority is there and why we need authority. But yeah, there was a time in my life where I didn't think authority really mattered.
Yeah, but you talking about your teen years? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, probably right after getting out of the military.
Okay, so you're a little bit older than teen years.
But it's our mid-20s, and but also
how'd that work out for you?
Well, not great, but but you also keep in mind too, we've learned a lot as far as veterans go. We've learned a lot in the last 20, 25 years when it came to war, because the last war we'd had before that was Vietnam, and they didn't really call it a war; they called it a conflict.
It was a conflict, yeah.
But guys came back pretty screwed up from that, and they were spat upon. And we came back from this, and everybody tied yellow ribbons around their old oak tree, and then we get out of the military, and wait, where's those yellow ribbons? Where'd those people go?
All right.
They just kind of disappeared. And so, you're having to make your way through. And, oh, by the way, you've got PTSD. The Gulf War syndrome, it's taken a very long time to actually bring that to the real forefront. But Gulf War syndrome is a true medical diagnosis. It is what it is.
It's a real deal. It's a very real deal.
Right. My brother has it. Some people are fortunate enough to be able to get through things and quantify things in their own minds and be able to go on and live a normal life after a while, but it takes time. And then there's others who just cannot quite put that in a box and put it back on the shelf.
Right.
Once you can put that in a box, authority no longer is a major issue.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. Once it's in a box, then you start living your life. And
which if anybody's listening and they are a veteran, then they do have to deal with PTSD, or if you have a relative or a significant other or somebody in your life that deals with that, that's a very real thing. And
let me tell you something. There's lots of numbers that you can call for this, but just about in every city across America, there's either a Disabled Americans Veterans chapter, there's a VFW chapter, and other organizations that you could just simply make a phone call to if you don't know where to go for help, or if you have a friend that needs help, you call them. They will point you in the right direction, because everything's a little bit different. When you're talking about the Department of Veterans Affairs in Oklahoma, it's not a federal thing. It's the Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs.
Right.
So what goes in Oklahoma doesn't necessarily mean the same thing happens in Arkansas.
So like our message is, man, if you guys are suffering with that, you guys reach out to somebody, man, because you guys made a huge sacrifice for this country, and there are people there to help you. And even if you didn't serve and you got PTSD, you guys reach out to people, man, because it ain't nothing's worth doing something stupid. So you guys know that the Tiddy and Shiner show pulls for you. So
absolutely, and for all of you, thank you for your service. I too was a veteran, and I too had a problem for the longest time of people thanking me for my service. And finally, I kind of over time came up with an answer. It was my pleasure, and just shut it off at that. It was just my pleasure, because a lot of times you don't know what to say back to them. You thank me for why are you thanking me? It's kind of my duty to do that.
I'm guilty of that. I think there's one time a year every year I do service, but
sure, and it was my pleasure.
And every time you've said that to me, I felt privileged to have that conversation in the brief moment that it happened. But I mean, yeah, man, you guys, and going back to this fucking Brady thing, everybody needs to realize, man, there's bigger problems in the goddamn world than the name of a street, the name of a company. You guys need to really pick your battles.
No doubt. All the money that's spent on this,
ridiculous.
All the money that's spent on this could feed somebody, could house somebody.
Yeah, man, let's help some people. Let's help some people.
If you're talking about safety concerns, you could put another cop on the street for you.
Yeah.
I mean there's so many ways you can think of how to spend this money other than how you're doing it. So, check yourself before you wreck everybody.
And that's what's happening right now.
For sure. Well,
yeah, man.
This has been a very packed episode, and
We've
my
been all over the
apologies.
place, man.
Yeah,
You talk about a shit show. It's been all over the place tonight.
my apologies if we
Ramble.